The puppies are resting, the babies are resting. And if I do too much moving around, they're gonna want to follow me everywhere I go. So we're going to just rock with things the way they are. Okay. But I wanted to have like a little intimate reflection. So this is probably something you could come back to later and be like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and listen to this as more like an audio thing. I started to just make it audio, but I didn't know if I did audio was it gonna let me show pictures. Like I'm not sure about that, so I didn't want to start the live and not be able to show pictures because I do want to do some pictures of this. But we're going to look in the Google Drive. We're going to look in the Gmail. And yesterday, a comment was made. So I want to go over some things. So I want to go over some things from yesterday. Okay. One of my favorite commenters made a comment yesterday that really stuck with me, and I said I was gonna research it. I said I was gonna research it, so I went ahead and I did some research on that comment, and I want to share that. Now, before we get into that comment, I gotta tell y'all. So, yesterday when I did that video, I did like a reel. I made like a 5 minute reel, and I shared the reel to my Facebook, and I shared the reel to my TikTok, and I shared the reel to my Instagram. Lately, I don't know what's going on Facebook, but I'm starting to get engagement again. I don't know what's going on with Meta, but Meta is starting to let a girl slide through, starting to let a being, starting to let a whole one slide through. Okay, so I'm appreciating the being able to slide on through a man, a woman, and that video, that reel that I did, I think the last time I checked it had almost 800 views on my Facebook, and so one of the viewers was commenting and was really like in his feels. Wait, okay, I like that relight. And was really like in his feels. So he left this comment. Now I call myself, trying not to be rude to him. He said, God help my people. We are so lost. Now, wait, hold on. And I want to share this to Facebook. Yeah, he was like, help my people. We are so lost. And so this is how I responded. I said, if we never get lost, well, it's supposed to be there would never be no journey, but I said there would. Yeah, child work would be patient with me. I said, there would never be no journey, no testimony. Being lost helps us to appreciate being found. God got us, Mother, Father, Creator of all, guide us to growth, expanded consciousness. And down there at the bottom, I think it says evolution, if I'm not mistaken. So his response, like he keeps responding, so I'm going to share another one of his responses. So then, so then he said, so then he said, slow ass chick. Now, then he said, miss me with the dumb shit. Okay. So, I ain't gonna lie. The first thing I did was went to go and look at his page to see who was talking. I went to go and look at his page to see who was talking. Now, the fact that he wasn't misgendering me, well, in a way he was misgendering me because my pronouns are they, them, now. But The she is better than a he. So um the fact that he wasn't misgendering me in his mind did speak it was kind of like, I don't know, it put a question mark in my mind, like what's his intentions, what is this about, because in a way he's honoring, I think he's honoring what he sees, but sometimes even that can be a form of disrespect because, I'm sure you saw the other video. If you saw that video, then you probably saw the video where I said I'm they them. And what it was giving me was, I like you, I'm a fan, I'm attracted to you, and you need to know your place, and that is beneath me, woman. Get in your place. It was kind of giving me them teas. And at first, the carnal side of me, that the carnal side of that Gemini mind, because he was attractive. Like when I went to go and look at his page, he was definitely someone I would have gave a little snuggle with. When I went to go and look at his page, Grand Rising Purple Prodigy, he was definitely someone that could have got a little mouse snuggle, had I been still in that place in my mind, so he was attractive. So part of me wanted to continue to entertain it because I was like, this is his little backwards way of flirting, probably. I don't know. This is just me. I'm not saying that the man was attracted to me. I'm saying in my mind, that's what it felt like. So, it was like that, like when you in school and you like somebody on the playground, like when girls like boys on the playground, they do crazy stuff to them to let them know they like them, like they mess with them. So it gave me like a child flirting with me on the playground, like, I like you, I want to let you know I like you, like, and I don't know how to say it. And at first I wanted to entertain it, like I wanted to, and I also wanted to leave him on my page. Like, I didn't want to block him, but I did end up going on his page and saying, okay, I get it now, because I listened to one of his videos and the stuff that he was talking about was like, okay, like he gave me some right wing Republican rhetoric almost. Like, you against Donald Trump, but you also sound like a Republican. And that's just kind of like that weird thing that a lot of black people do. Not all black people, but a lot of black people give you like, I'm a Republican, but I'm gonna say I'm not a Republican. It give you like, I'm MAGA, but I'm gonna say I'm not MAGA. Like, I have all the same values of MAGA, but I didn't vote for Trump. I didn't vote for Trump, but I'm low key MAGA. Because if you really think about it, the Democrats and the Republicans is not really that different. Like, come on, they're not really that different. But anyway, I wanted to entertain him. I wanted to entertain him so bad and kind of leave him on my page because it was just like the simple part of me, the simplest part of me was like, him cute. The simplest part of me was like, him cute. Him trade piece. But I wasn't about to let him derail the mission. Like, I wasn't about to let him take me off assignment. So I went on ahead and politely said, take care and be well, and block that ass. Because that's the type of stuff that happen when you trying to get your stuff together and you're trying to be focused on your assignment. They start sending you, those are the type of distractions that'll come on your timeline. And his flirting was very much like that caveman, those caveman antics. You know how some of us as feminine beings, we are attracted to, like, when he was calling me, he was calling me a slow and calling me dumb, and I was like, that was really giving a projection, because you struggling with the information, you struggling with processing the information, which really means that you're slow, and so you're projecting, and you're like you being a little bit of a caveman is appealing to my more carnal self. Give you being a caveman, me caveman, me beat Jane overhead, me likey, me beat overhead, me bring home, me me beat overhead, me bring home, me take to Pound Town. Me was living. Me was living a little bit. Ooh-wee. Me digging cookies, right? Me take to Pound Town. Me man. You Jade. Me hit overhead with club. Me take to Pound Town. and me and a part of me was ready to go. Let me stop. Let me stop. I gotta forgive me. I'm sorry. Woo me. Woo me. But anyway, so I went on ahead and blocked that shenanigan, or went on ahead and blocked them shenanigans, jail. But at first, like when he sent the first message, it was very much a subliminal, like it was very much like, because I didn't know, like that's how you know I didn't really, I was trying not to automatically go to the negative with the first comment. Like when he said my people are so lost, I tried not to take it automatically to a negative place. I tried to assume that something negative was not being said. Like I really tried to assume that he was not saying anything negative, and and I responded with kindness, and then when he started saying smart things back, that lets me know that he's the type of man that thinks he's the alpha man, but he's really a beta man. But he think he a alpha. It's a lot of men who think that they're alphas, but they're really betas. And so he was doing that beta stuff to try to get attention and to try to, try to assert himself as dominant, try to come take over my, like you coming in my comment section talking about I can't teach you anything. I'm talking crazy. I can't teach you nothing. Yet you're in my comment section. Like I didn't come find you. I'm not on your page. You're in my comment section of my video, taking the time to respond all of these messages. You have all of this stuff to say. So clearly I'm in your psyche. I've wormed my way into your psyche. I'm taking up space in your mind. I'm living rent free in your skull. Clearly. Because if I had no power, if I had no merit, you would have scrolled past and you wouldn't have given me all this energy. But you had all of this energy and will probably still be going backwards and forwards with me if I would not have blocked him. That's how I knew it was a projection. And he tried to be subtle with it, like it wasn't clear if that was directed towards me, if that was something that he was trying to say cute towards me. That's why I kept it cute in my response. And then when he doubled down and he responded back, oh yeah, you can't see it there, but he doubled down and he responded back and he was like so lost. And I responded and I said, it's a projection. I said, you're projecting. Never did I disrespect him. Never did I name call him. Never did I belittle him. I just said it's giving projection. Like I stayed positive, or I stayed in a good place with him the whole time. Like I never entertained him the way that he was, like, I never came for him like the way he was coming for me. And so he was trying to assert his dominance in in my comment section. And I don't know, like, I feel like he's used to dealing with like feminine beings who let him have that type of power. I don't know if he was supposed to, if I was supposed to come in the comment section and be like, oh my king, I'm doing this for us, my king. Like, I hope you understand, my king. No disrespect. Like, I don't know if that's what he wanted. Maybe I should have tried that and see where it would have got me. King, you know what? I'm pray for me because I'm really like, my head is like, I don't know, them demons begin in my mind. Maybe I should have centered him. Maybe I should have made it about him just to see where it would have took us. I know. Maybe one day I'll do that as an experiment. But anyway, I want to get to this content because I looked up what so one of my commenters yesterday said that Lumer said that Gemini and the snake equals Lumer. So I don't know if y'all are familiar with Lumeria, which a lot of people are comparing. Like, a lot of people make that connection between Laylim Layler and Lumeria. And this is how I know that what we are engaging in is the resurrection of an ancient practice, because when I was living in my apartment in New Orleans on King Memorial, around I moved in there around 2016. So 2016 is what, 7 plus 2 is 9. So that was the year of 9. So that's when I moved into that apartment. When I moved into that apartment, all type of stuff started happening. Like, my spiritual awakening really started. And if I'm not mistaken, I turned 40 in 2016. So I turned 40 in 2016. It was the year of 9. And I started I really, really got deep into like my spiritual awakening. And in my living room area, a lot of powerful stuff happened in there. Like, my friend who passed away, who was like non-binary, but they used he pronouns. They would use he pronouns, she pronouns, they pronouns. But I remember one time we was on a balcony dancing, and it was like we was doing a rain dance, because as we danced harder, it rained harder. As we danced softer, it rained softer. Like the rain was moving with our movement. And when we finished dancing, it was people on the balcony across from us that were clapping. That was one of the things that happened to me that was a miracle in the space. Then two of my friends, well, before they came near, another tribe of an indigenous person, and one of my girlfriends who's a Wiccan, um, the, so it was an indigenous person and one of my girlfriends who's Wiccan, who's like white Caucasian, but also trans. She came to my house, and we did like a ritual in my living room, and it was a beautiful ritual, like, of honoring the ancestors and protecting the space, and that was like another beautiful thing that happened in that room, and so many things came into alignment after that happened. So then after that happened, and two more of my trans siblings came to live with me after I came back from this retreat. After I came back from this retreat in Pennsylvania, I came back from this retreat, and two of my siblings came to stay with me, and this is when Laylim Layler came about. So we was all sitting in a circle, and I've said this a multitude of times. I said lay something, and I was saying one word. Then the second person in the circle said lay lay something. And then I then but they said what they said was a double word, but it sounded, both of them sounded masculine. So then when the last person, who was empathy, said the word, they said lay lim lay lur, which was masculine feminine sound. So lay lim is masculine, lay lur is feminine. Let him, let her. So that was the word that came from all of us talking. Now, the interesting thing about lay is that my birth name, my middle name is Lorraine. So and it's but it's spelled Lary. So it's La, not Le. So but yeah, that's just another thing that's interesting. And my first love, like their middle name had that lie in it too, like LaShawn. But anyway, that's just a little sidebar. So it took three of us to say the word, and right around that time, I think before this happened, I had did some research, and I knew about the indigenous people who was connected to Lumeria, but I really didn't think any more about it. It was downloaded in my subconsciousness, but I didn't really think any more about it. Like I researched, I was trying to find out where the indigenous people came from, it's hard to Google now and find that connection, but you can find out how the tribes were connected to Lumeria. So I just like, the more I find out about Lumeria, it's fascinating. But then when you start trying to look for like content about Lumeria, it's always some white people. Like it's always, that's the thing that gets me about like when you're trying to find like visual contents that tell story. There's some amazing content creators out there on YouTube, but they will turn everything white. Everything will be white, and it's like it's like, how can you say all of this higher level like how can you have these higher level conversations, have these esoteric and ethereal conversations, and make everybody white, make everybody closer to white? Like that is crazy to me. Like that's my problem with Avatar. Like Aang came to save the world, but ain't no people with a Foci hair pattern in this world. Like there's no negritude, there's no ebenoid, there's no melanin rich ebenoid people. Like there's no negritude in this world. Like that's why we have to understand that there's a difference between saving the world and saving the planet, saving the earth. Because you're trying to save the. I'm not like when people say they come to save the world, the question that you have to ask is, what world are you trying to save? Huh? What world are you trying to save? That's the question. That's the question a lot of us need to ask. Hold on one second. That's the question. That's the question a lot of us need to ask. Hold on. It must not be gonna let me do that. Wait, hold on. Okay, let me try to save this to one. Okay, and so we're back. But now, they dipped the visuals in Miracle Whip once again. It's giving white supremacy syndrome. Who's say, yeah, what we're okay. So I want to go ahead and read this information that was shared yesterday, which is very good. Very, very good information. So let's change this background visual because we didn't talk about him enough. And our souls, where our souls intertwine. Mm, mm. Okay, so let's talk about what was shared with me yesterday. So I'm gonna do some reading, okay? In esoteric traditions, the connection between the snake, Gemini, and Lumeria is a deep seated narrative about the evolution of human consciousness and the transition from a pearly, instinctual existence to an intellectual and spiritual one. Let me read that line again. In esoteric traditions, the connection between the snake, Gemini, and Lumeria is a deep seated narrative about the evolution of human consciousness and the transition from a purely instinctual existence to an intellectual and spiritual one. Now, what is so interesting is in Chinese zodiac, I represent the snake, and in American zodiac, I represent Lumeria. I mean, Gemini. So I'm already connecting with this just in the first line. To understand how they equate, we have to look at the Lumerian era through the lens of occultists like Rudolf Steiner and Helena Be- Be- Blavatsky. Yeah, I'm sure it's other people who have theories, but this is the sources that they're citing. The Lumerian context, the birth of the I. The Lumeria context, the birth of the I. In esoteric history, Theo Theosophy. I gotta really Google that. Let's see what Theosophy means. Any number of philosophies maintaining that a knowledge of God may be achieved through spiritual ecstasy, direct intuition, or special individual relations, especially the movement found in 1875 as the Theosophical Society by Helena Blavatsky and Henry Steele occult in 1832 through 1907. So these were white people. Let me see. Were people possessing negritude or heavy melanin?
According to Wikipedia.org, negritude, from French nigre and attitude.
Are ebenoid people associated with Lumeria?
According to Wikipedia.org,
I didn't say albinoid.
From French nigre and attitude.
Are ebenoid people, not albinoid, ebenoid. Lord, you bitches
Albino
cannot.
is a synonym of albinoid.
No, boo.
According to wikidiv.com,
Get your
albino is a
shit
synonym of
together.
albinoid. According to
Excuse my
Wikipedia,
French, y'all.
Blavatsky claimed that Australia was a remnant inland region of Lemuria and that Aboriginal Australians and Aboriginal
Yeah, so now you're
Tasmanians were
saying
of
my right
Lemurian and
words because
Lemuro-Atlantean
you're saying
origin, after
Aboriginal.
crossbreeding with animals.
Hold on, boo. Let me say a word y'all understand. Are black people affiliated with Lumeria?
According to typicallytopical.com, since the early 19th century, Lemuria has been claimed as the homeland of human ancestors. As the continents drifted, it's now believed that pockets of places such as Hawaii, Fiji, New Zealand, Australia, Vietnam, Thailand, and the South Pacific Islands still hold the original Lemurian frequency.
Are black or Aboriginous people associated with Lumeria?
According to Wikipedia, during the latter part of the 19th century, Helena Blavatsky, a cultist and founder of Theosophy, placed Lemuria in the system of her mystical religious doctrine, claiming that this continent was the homeland of the human ancestors, whom she called Lemurians.
Who are the tribes of Lumeria?
According to Wikipedia, Blavatsky claimed that Australia was a remnant inland region of Lemuria and that Aboriginal Australians and Aboriginal Tasmanians were of Lemurian and Lemuro-Atlantean origin, after crossbreeding with animals.
Interesting. Okay, so let's go back to the reading. Um, to understand how to equate, we have to look at the Lumerian era through the lens of occultists like Rudolf Steiner and Helena Blavatsky or whatever her name is. The Lumerian context, the birth of the eye in esoteric history, the theosophy and anthropos. What the? Let's Google that. Copy. A formal education, therapeutic, and creative system established by Rudolf Steiner, seeking to use mainly natural means to optimize physical and mental health and well-being.
Anthroposophy.
Anthroposophy, an a formal educational therapeutic, a creative system established by Rudolf Steiner, seeking to use mainly natural means to optimize physical and mental health and well-being. Okay. Now back to where were we? Lemuria was a lost continent where humanity began to develop a physical body and a sense of self. The state, early Lemurian were supposedly mindless or instinctual, living in a dreamlike state of unity with nature. So what are they trying to say? Like the first Lemurians were animals? Like they weren't conscious, they weren't sentient in the way that we are sentient. And this is iffy. This is iffy. This is iffy. This is iffy. Because I think that just because something isn't sentient in the way that you're sentient, how can you prove that? Like, what is the basis? Like, what is your basis for saying that? Because people aren't motivated by the same things. People don't have the what is the basis? How do you establish that? Like, how do you establish that these beings were mindless? Like, how do you establish that? Like, I would love to hear how this writer or this researcher or whatever we want to call him, this historian, how he established that they were mindless. The shift to evolve humanity's need to develop individual thinking and duality, the knowledge of good and evil, which is again conceptual. Good and evil are conceptual. Good and evil are boxes we created to create a binary system to further divide us. And so, nah, this is where the snake and the Gemini enter the picture. The snake, the catalyst of individuation. The snake is the universal esoteric symbol for the Kundalini and wisdom, but specifically the serpent of wisdom that tempted humanity in the Garden of Eden, which esoterists often map onto the Lemurian period. The rose snake represents the Luciferic influence in this tradition. The fowl was actually an ascent to self-awareness. Interesting. The energy, it represents the energy that rose up the spine of the Lemurian human, lighting up the brain and allowing the birth of the intellect. The birth of the intellect? Interesting. That's an interesting way to frame that. Like, is it the birth of intellect, or is it just another branch of sentience? Like another way to be sentient, another way to be present, a more pronounced way to be present. Like, is it that Gemini archetype, the Gemini, the archetype of duality? I could agree with that. Gemini is the zodiacal sign of the twins, representing the split from unity into duality. And this is the crazy part. So they're acknowledging that a split happened, and in order for it to be a split, that means that it existed there, just not in the way that it existed prior to the split. So yeah, that's how this is giving me like word salad of confusion, because it existed obviously in order for there to have been a split. Like, in order to say that it split, that denotes that it was present, and it may have not just been active because it didn't feel a need to be active. Like, it was learning, it was gathering information, it was moving in a way that it needed to move for that season, because everything has a season. So I'm just like, yeah, okay. The equating factor esoterically, Gemini is the ruler of the third root race, Lumeria. Interesting. Before this, humanity was considered androgynous, or one. Wow. 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 If I had like a gunshot thing, I'd be like firing it off. Wow. The purple ones. They was purple. They was purple. They was purple. They was gray. They was the purple ones. They was the gray ones. They was the whole ones. Before this, humanity was considered androgynous, or one. Gemini represents the moment the soul split I, other, or higher self and lower self. Wow. Geminis came and messed up the game. Now Gemini gotta come clean up the game. Wow, Gemini's messed up the game. Gemini's messed up that thing. Nah, Gemini gotta come clean it up. Gemini came and messed up the game. Now Gemini's gotta come clean it up. And it's so true, like as above, so below. Donald Trump is a Gemini messing up the game, messing up consciousness. And Laylim Laylor is Gemini's cleaning up consciousness. Wow. 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 Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. As above, so below, as within, so without. Gemini messing things up, Gemini trying to split us, Gemini trying to divide us, Gemini trying to have confusion, and other Geminis trying to bring it back together. That's that divine twin and that mortal twin at war. But baby, this war is gonna end in unity. This war is gonna end in coming back together. Oh baby, because you got 3 melanated Geminis on the purple squad. Period. 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 What? You got 3 melanated Geminis, melanin rich Geminis on the purple squad. Whole wives. What? Let me stop. Calm down. I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited. Okay, calm down. As above, so below, as within, so without. The universal esoteric symbol. Wait. The snake, the catalyst of individuation. The snake is the universal esoteric symbol for the Kundalini wisdom. Okay, I read that already. The role of the snake represents. I read that already too. The energy represents the fire energy that rose up the spine of the Lemurian human, lighting up the brain, allowing the brain to birth intellect. Now, this is the gag part. Now, this is the deeper gag about that because I'm born in 77 specifically, which is the year of the fire serpent. So not only am I a Gemini, not only in the Chinese zodiac am I a snake, but the specific year I was born in makes me a fire snake. So there goes that connection to the Kundalini. So you got the Gemini, the snake, and the fire snake. All of the resonation is there. Gemini is the zodiacal sign of the twins, representing the split from unity into duality. The equating factor, esoterically, Gemini is the ruler of the third race, Lemuria. Before this, humanity was considered androgynous. Gemini represents the moment the soul split into I, and how they equate this how they equate the esoteric synthesis. The 3 concepts meet at the sacrifice of unity for knowledge. Snake, element, esoteric meaning, Lemurian connection. Snake, the serpent of wisdom, Kundalini, the force that unlocked the human mind in Lemuria. Gemini, duality, the twins, the intellect, the stage of evolution where Lemurians became self-aware individuals. Lemuria, the cradle of human ego. Wow. The physical and temporal setting for this cosmic upgrade. Was it an upgrade though? The Gemini snake link. The esoteric astrological Gemini, hidden or esoteric ruler, is often cited in Venus, but its active symbol, and there goes another connection because one of my big three is Libra, and Libra is ruled by Venus. But it's a active symbol, and is frequently the caduceus is frequently on the caduceus, the staff with two snakes. The two snakes on the staff represent the dual nature of Gemini, the mortal twin and the immortal twin. My goddess God on today. My goddess God on today. Donald Trump is the mortal twin, baby. And Laylim Layler is the immortal twin. Period. Pool. Lumeria is the moment the human spirit, the immortals, became intertwined with the physical body. Mortal. So what is there or what are they saying? That the Kundalini was the divine deciding to exist with humans? What they're saying was the beings were not, they weren't connected to the divine before then, because that's what it sounds like it's trying to give. That's what it sounds like it's trying to give. Like humans were not animated by the divine. Divine force was not with them, which sounds like it doesn't sound real. Like maybe some people were I just find it hard to believe that there's never not an integration between the divine and humans. I think that my faith tells me that the divine is always present. How much of the divine is present? How much of the divine is active? How much of the divine is present with you? I think that determines your willingness to be open to that energy. Because if you're closed off and shut off, how can it get at you? You understand what I'm saying? I don't like. I think that that's definitely gonna have to be a deeper conversation. We're gonna definitely have to revisit this. Um, Lumeria. This was the moment when the human spirit, immortal spirit, became intertwined with the physical body, mortal, through the sting or gift of the snake's intellect. Would you like to dive deeper into the transition from Lumeria to Atlantis? Change the symbolism of the snake. Mm. So yeah, we will definitely go into how the we'll get into that. We're not gonna get into that today though, but I did want to like visit this because that was said yesterday and I found it very interesting. So I wanted to go and take a dip in the pool, take a dip in the pool of hearing more about, I find Lumeria fascinating, the things that I've heard about Lumeria. And this is the first time that I've heard that they were not a intellectual people. Like this is the first time that I've heard that. What I have heard were they were healers. They could they were more closer to the water, like they existed more in water. And I have heard about the form, like how their forms were not as fixed, as ours are. Like they were not um, fully material. Like they how they moved between the material and the immaterial, and having the ability to do that. So that gave them the ability to like teleport and things of that nature. So those are the things that I have heard about Lumerians, that they were a very telepathic and intuitive people. They communicated telepathically. They didn't need a lot of words. They were healers, and they knew how to heal people, and they spent a lot of time in the water. Like they were able to breathe underwater longer. These were things that I've heard about Lumeria, but I never have heard that they were um, they were more carnal. They were less intellectual. Like I never knew that this is a part of the Lumeria story. So definitely gonna have to do some more research about that. It's giving once connected by separated or temporarily turned off to witness who to be trusted with Kundalini, but eventually separated due to too much ego and imbalanced chaos. Well, it's saying that this was the birth of the ego. That's what they're literally saying. I think they're trying to undermine Lumerians when they're describing them. They ain't trying, they are. So, but yeah, this is giving more research. So this is giving more downloads. Because I don't think researchers, research, sometimes research will lead you further away from the truth. So it's giving more meditation, more dialogue, downloads, more direct connection to experience the truth, to experience what really happened. Also, what I wanted to say in this video before I forget to say it, I don't say it in every video, and I may need to move back to that. But I do want, someone was asking some really, really good questions. Like they was asking about what Laylim Layler means, and why is purple? Why do I call? They actually said, why do you call your fans purple ones? And I was like, I don't have fans. I have tribe. I have community, and that's what I call my community and my tribe, purple ones. And just to reiterate why I say purple is because purple is the integration of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and that's why when you put those colors that are traditionally associated with masculine and feminine, whether it be pink or blue or red and blue, you get you get various shades of purple, lavender, lilac. You get something in that arena, and so the reason why I say purple ones rise is because I'm speaking to the integration of the masculine and feminine consciousness. I also want to hold up the integration of dark and light, black and white, chaos and order, the yin yang symbol, which if you mix them together, you can get a shade of gray. And so we do honor the purple and the gray ones. I don't always say gray ones. I mostly say purple ones, but I want to hold space for the fact that when I say purple, I am telepathically also speaking of the gray ones. So though I may not say gray in every video, those of you who are staunch in your connection to this work, like literally, you don't miss a video, you pay attention, that symbolically, just like I'm wearing gray right now, I do when our practitioners meet for our um, ninth anniversary, we're definitely gonna include gray in the color. This year we centered purple, but this year we're gonna make a greater effort to include gray in our 1 year anniversary. I mean, in our 9 year anniversary, and also throughout the year. We was even talking about the flag, how the flag, because we're workshopping the flag right now, and so we want to put gray in the flag. That's what's missing from the flag. But yeah, so purple. When you hear me say purple, or when you hear me say gray, it is the integration of it represents wholeness. It represents Christ consciousness. It represents the balance within ourselves, understanding that we are connected to all, everything, and nothing, as above, so below, as within, so without. The integration of those seemingly polarity um, energies and essences, a man, a woman. So that is what I mean when I say purple ones rise. That is what I mean when I say, when I acknowledge the great ones, because we understand that even when things don't make sense to us, or even when things appear uh, chaotic, or um, things are not totally clear, like we don't fully get it, we understand that there's a bigger picture, there's a greater design that all connects us together. And one of the things that the ancestors have collectively been revealing to me in this season, as we near the spring equinox and we officially began the 2026 cycle, one of the things that they have been revealing to me is how and a lot of y'all, you're not gonna be ready for this download. So, I get it. I understand. I understand. I want to say, hey, I've been there too. But one of the things that I understand about the way this reality works, this binary system works, you have to be up. You have to be down in order to be up. You have to be down in order to be up. And what I mean when I say that is, when we think about what happened to the Jews, um, the beings that we identify as Jews, the beings that we associate with that practice, the Holocaust was a horrific moment in time. But when you think about how all of that sacrifice and all of that bloodshed would ultimately benefit their descendants, the Jews have been able to collectively amass tremendous amounts of power, wealth, and resources. And so all of that suffering wasn't for nothing. When you think about what some of the Asiatic nations who have experienced traumatic genocide have endured, when you think about how they were, how those resources were able to change the landscape of their economy, how they were able to pour those resources back into their people, and from that tragedy they were able to elevate themselves, you know and they were able to expand their empire, you know and so when we think about the things that are happening over there in Gaza right now, when we think about the things that are happening in these places in other parts of the country right now, it is horrible, it is deplorable. And I think 50 years from now, 60 years from now, people are going to be throwing resources and throwing money, and their descendants, although probably indoctrinated, although probably gentrified, although probably assimilated, are going to be very, very well off. And that's how this reality works. They will genocide your people. They will wash the board with your ancestors. Look at what happened in the gay community with HIV and AIDS. There are some white people, there are some black people who who are royalty in the queer community and dominate with wealth and resources because of the suffering of our queer ancestors. And that's how a binary system works. Your ancestors are tortured and brutalized, and it beckons the question to me: is it a celestial contract? Is it an agreement that we sign off on and say, okay, we're going to sacrifice ourselves so that our descendants can have this opportunity? Like, there's going to be a season where we're going to agree celestially to be to be pure energy for the system, to be sacrifices, to be chattel, to be livestock in this system, so that generations from now, our descendants can experience tremendous wealth and prosperity. And this is what I ask myself about the black indigenous people and chattel slavery. I think that reparations perhaps may have been given out, and they were not given out to all of us. They were given to very specific people in the black community who keep all of it. Our reparations are given out strategically, and that's the trick with black people. Like, perhaps they have reparated us, but they were specific about who they were going to reparate. Because the thing about black people is, if we had the resources, not all of us are in line with colonialism. Not all of us are in line with white supremacy. Not all of us are in line with patriarchy. I understand why white people support it. I understand why people who look like white people might find this system beneficial, because at the end of the day, you still see yourself, you still see your likeness, you still see your representation, you still see, for the most part, a lot of views and values that align with how you maneuver society. But there are indigenous people, there are melanin rich people who do not see themselves in this system, who do not see themselves celebrated in this system in a way that is not reflective of coonery and buffoonery and servitude. And so you have to be, because of our potential to get attention, you have to be really, really specific about which black people you're going to reparate. And so I'm in this phase of consciousness where I think that black people did get their reparations. I just think that they were very strategic about who they gave those reparations to. And I think that there were a few people in the black community that received reparations for all of the black community. And that's why you have these organizations and these funds that are set up to specifically grant money to specific black people who are going to help to uphold this system, who are going to help to hold this system in place as it is. There are resources and funds that are specifically for black people. And that is how they control who gets reparated. That's how they control who gets funding, who gets resources, who gets access. So I think the conversation about reparations is not really a conversation anymore, because they've already given out reparations. They've given them who they wanted to give them to. About hogging all the reparations. Exactly. They hogging it all. So I'm off this conversation about reparations because I think we already got them. Well, we didn't get them, but I think black folks already. I think the ones they wanted to give them to already got them, and they're doing very, very, very well with those reparations. And so the same way it was some of our brothers and sisters who supported us in being sold off into this, our brothers and sisters who assisted in the erasure of our ancestors and siblings who did not want to participate in this, the same way our ancestors supported them in colonizing us, in whitewashing us, in forcing us into assimilation, forcing us into integration, silencing any black leader who has who's tried to lead us away from this system, lead us away from this matrix. Like, those are the ones who get the reparations. Those are the ones who get the resources and the funding. Those who support our further assimilation, those who support our further indoctrination, those are the ones who get endorsed for campaigns, those are the ones who get monetized, those are the ones who get pushed through the algorithm. That's your reparations. That is your reparations. And the reason why the reparations are so easily the reason why the reparations are so widespread when it comes to other demographics, because Jews for the most part are not anti white supremacy. They're white now. They're not anti colonialism. Like, when you think about it, all of the other races that have been just across the board reparated, they're not in opposition to the system as is. And so it makes sense to collectively, it makes sense that their reparations were evenly distributed, because as a whole, they're not in opposition to the current system as is. They're not going to reparate all black people equally, because not all black people are on the same side. Not all black people are in agreement with the system. So that's just food for thought. Anyway, I love y'all. Y'all have a beautiful day. Take care of yourself. This is the Church of the Mother and the Father. Not the, this is the Church of God Goddess, not the Church of God God, and this is the Church of God Goddess, not the Church of God in Christ. Let nation, purple ones and gray ones, rise, rise indeed. Thank you, Purple Prodigy. That's right. We're not. Love y'all. Y'all have a beautiful day.